So we are starting with since we are all gathering for the 21st June celebration. So here is the beginning with the protocol prayer. Okay. So the protocol that we follow on 21st June all over the world. Om Sangachadvam Samvadadvam Samvo Manansi Janatam Deva Bhagai Yatha Purve Sanjanana Upasate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you.
No.
So good evening and welcome everyone who are joining us on Zoom and on Facebook Live, locally and globally, to Naveda's 80 is the New 50 webinar panel discussion number 21. I am Veena Dansingani, founder, director, and alopecia hair loss specialist of Naveda Integral Wellness Center in Hong Kong, which is the first value-based integral wellness center offering a transformative health experience to its clients in Hong Kong. So June is a very important month for us as International Day of Yoga is celebrated worldwide. And Naveda Wellness has taken the initiative to bring awareness and educate people about authentic, traditional, and classical Ashtanga yoga. When people talk about yoga these days, they all think about, it could be really difficult postures, aerobics postures. So we just want to make people aware that yoga can be practiced by anyone and everyone on a daily basis, from all the way from children to teenagers, adults, and our seniors. So we have dedicated to celebrate International Yoga Day, which is our special edition of our series, which we've been happening. 80 is the New 50 panel discussion. And as we know, a little bit about the International Day of Yoga. It is celebrated annually on the 21st of June since 2015, following its inception in the United Nations General Assembly in 2014. So yoga plays a very integral and responsible part to keep one healthy, active, happy, and alive. Yoga is a way of life. It's not just a physical workout, but has a multi-dimensional essence to it. It addresses physiological, psychological, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life. Nowadays, yoga has really become a trend everywhere around the world, and we see more and more people practicing different forms of yoga. And people might be receiving a lot of confusing messages as to what authentic and real yoga truly is. We've heard people holding classes like dog yoga, beer yoga, and yoga has all different forms of names these days. And it can really give a very shallow perspective to this very deep ancient science and philosophy, which has been practiced in India for over 5,000 years today. Naveda, as we said, launched a very powerful and meaningful campaign called 80 is the New 50 panel discussion on the 21st of January 2021, a campaign which has been inspired by our director, who is right here with us, Mr. Lal Derinani, who turned 80, or should I say the New 50, on the 15th of April 2021. It really takes something to be happy, healthy, active, and purposeful at his age. In fact, he just shared with us that he doesn't know how fast his time flies, and he wished he had more time so that he could achieve more. So you can see the kind of energy he has. He actually has the energy of a 50 years old, or even should I say younger, because sometimes even a person like me cannot beat his energy levels. So from today, actually from last week, in our 80s and Youth 50 panel discussion, we started our yoga series where we have invited masters and doctorates from the field of yoga to share their wisdom about Ashtanga Yoga, which is called the 8 limbs of yoga of Maharishi Patanjali, and to truly understand what is traditional, authentic, classical yoga and who all can practice this and what are the benefits that we can reap if we do actually take this on our daily life. We all know that life expectancy has definitely increased. People are living longer, and but are they living happier? Are they living healthier? You know, um, there are definitely advances in healthcare. People are living longer, but we want to see that they live happy, healthy, active, and purposeful. We've seen that people, as we age, we do suffer from physiological, psychological, emotional challenges, mental challenges. Some of them could be Alzheimer's, osteoporosis, arthritis, heart diseases, diabetes, uh, loss of purpose, no hope, no joy, no nothing, no drive. So, and mental health has really taken a big toll upon people ever since the pandemic that we've been seeing since the last year and a half. So, is there a solution in Ashtanga Yoga for all this? Let's find out. Today, we would like to invite and welcome our panel discussion, our panel guests in this discussion. First of all, we have Dr. Sanjay Nagakar. He is a renowned microbiologist, a PhD from the University of Hong Kong. He has published more than 100 scientific papers, research articles, and reports and conference abstracts. He has invented over 83 technologies in preventive healthcare, environmental science, ecology, and nutraceutical functional foods. He will be interacting with our special guest speakers and also talking about the validation of yoga. In particularly, his interest is in therapeutic yoga. Uh, as we can see that our speakers who we've invited are very well versed in the subject of yoga for the past 20 over years. So they will be enlightening us with the topic of Ashtanga Yoga, the third and fourth limb. Not to forget our campaign ambassador, Mr. Lal Darinani. We are going to also learn from him
Yes, sir.
how yoga practices have also helped him remain active, healthy, happy, and alive, and keeping a positive mind frame as well. I will be taking questions from the audience, whether it's on Facebook Live, whether it's here on Zoom. So please type out your questions and I will be reading them and so that they can be answered by our special guest over here. So just a little bit about Mr. Lal Darinani also. He is Naveda's director and he is Naveda's 80s the New 50 campaign director. He is very much invested in this wellness industry and he is very what keeps him busy at even at this age is that he has invested in his own well-being and he has invested into Naveda's wellness to bring in a paradigm shift in the way people deal with their health. He wants to let more and more people know how important it is to take care of their health and well-being, and especially he is targeting the senior citizens. To he really wants to offer them this platform where he can show them through inviting so many different guest speakers who are inspirational about how people can really lead a happy, purposeful, active, healthy life. He is truly a role model for many people that even at this age, he chooses to remain purposeful. And he inspires lots of people all around the world. And all those who cross paths with him definitely have this wow, when they hear about his story. So I would now like to welcome our special guest speakers today to the panel, which is Sandhya and Nitin Patikji. So Sandhya and Nitin are the founder and CEO of the New Age Yoga Institute, Mumbai, India. They use their combined experience, knowledge, and wisdom to deliver powerful lessons from the institute. Sandhya ji, for example, has taught over 15,000 students personally and over 20,000 with the Institute. What began as a chance encounter for her has now blossomed into a lifelong mission to teach yoga to as many people as possible. She is a QCI Ayush certified yoga teacher and evaluator. So, welcome, Sandhya ji. And Nitin ji is no stranger to the passions one cultivates when one becomes exposed to yoga. With an IT background, he has mastered the balance of a highly technical field and one that requires you to control the machine that is our body. So, as a YCB certified yoga teacher and evaluator, he too has vast experience teaching others the practical and spiritual ways of this practice. So, welcome Sandhya and Nitinji to this platform. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to share your wisdom on Ashtanga Yoga to our platform. Last week, we had Dr. Mishra ji, who shared with the audience about the meaning of yoga and about, of course, yoga from Ashtanga Yoga. And he shared about the yamas and niyamas, which are the first two limbs of yoga. So today we have invited both of you to share about the third and fourth limb, which is asanas and pranayamas, especially bringing relevance to the modern world and also to our seniors. We are targeting this a lot to our 50 plus audience who tend to have a variety of health challenges from various different aspects, like I mentioned. And we are running this campaign called 80 is the New 50. And we hope to see more and more seniors feel like they are 50 when they turn 80. So I, turn this stage to you so that you can start your sharing.
Namo Nama.
Nama Nama.
I think this is good.
Minaji, can I use a PowerPoint presentation initially for 10 minutes before we start our interaction so that the interaction can be guided in proper direction?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yes.
So,
yeah, by all means.
you'll have to allow me?
Yes.
Share.
Yeah. So you'll have to make me a co-host here.
Okay.
If you make me a co-host, I'll be able to share. If you go.
It's done?
Yeah. So welcome everybody from New Age Yoga Institute, and welcome Veena-ji, Dr. Sanjay, Lal Daryanand-ji. Very nice to see you, and thank you for this privilege of speaking on this platform. I will request Veena-ji to please start on the topic right away on Asana Pranayama.
Okay. Namo Namaha, everybody, on this wonderful platform where we are going to explore further into the third and fourth limb of Ashtanga. And Asana is really very close to the heart of everyone, because whenever anybody says that I'm following yoga, he's actually practicing Asana. And Asana is doable anga or aspect of yoga, and as a result each of us can connect with asana, because there is some asana or the other which everybody can do, as you rightly said it. So as you can see in the slide, asana, there are various variations are available, so one can select what is suiting his body. So either the asana are suitable, or if they are not, we can make them suitable by modifying the asana. So maybe you use some external gadget, or you can prop which will help you to modify the asana, particularly in case of a person is having a difficulty in lowering the body or twisting the body. Then at such points, using a prop is a good idea, just to modify the asana. But since we are talking about Ashtanga, in Patanjali, he has never said that we will be using a prop. He has used the best prop that we have is our own body. And through that, we work in the asana. So asana can be very simple, they can be very complex. So depending upon how one is progressing, because as our flexibility is getting trained, then a person will look forward to a more challenge and more achievement in the asana. And that's where we have to take an understanding of what yoga is, what Patanjali's asana is telling us. Otherwise, we'll be encroaching into the exercise, which is quite a dynamic form, and then we must know where the asana and exercise, there is a difference between the two, and we need to understand that.
Yeah. So I'll take ahead from here. Many of us, we understand asana as an exercise. It is very easy to perform an asana under the guise of exercise, because there is a very thin line for a common man, and it's very popular. The exercise form is a very popular form and can be mixed very easily with the asanas. Now, when I'm saying this, and when I'm going to differentiate between asana and exercise, I would never like to undermine exercise, because exercise has its own place. Exercise, before going into the asana, let us understand what is the exercise and why it gets mixed with the asana. So exercise, as everyone knows, there are several benefits. Exercise will increase your metabolism, higher BMR, everyone knows about it. Cardiovascular benefits, if you are running, if you are walking, there are cardiovascular benefits. You spend calories or burn calories, as colloquially it is said, and you can balance your input and output. That is, what you eat can be digested. Stamina increase with exercise, it's a very good benefit. For those people who are interested in Sharira Saushthav or bodybuilding, increasing the muscles, then for them it's a very good tool. Exercise is a very good tool. And overall, you can have an increased dynamism. We say, of course, everyone, vibrancy. Everyone would like to become dynamic. Everyone would like to become a vibrant personality. In yoga, only thing is it is mentioned as higher rajas. Okay, but let's understand whether asana is the same as exercise, because as I said, it is very easy to perform asana under the guise of exercise. But I would like Sandhya to explain.
Exercise under the guise of asana.
Yeah, both the ways.
That is also what happens.
And I would like Sandhya to just explain, okay, how the asana is different in that case. If it is not an exercise, then what is asana?
What is asana? Patanjali has given us a definition of asana, and he just uses two terms. He says sthira and sukha. So any body posture which gives me sthira, that is steadiness, and sukha, that is comfort, is asana. Sthira sukham asanam is what is defined by Patanjali, and I think that is a very, very big clue or the link by which, when I am practicing asana, each of us has to find out, is my asana as defined as Patanjali, where he's asking me to be stable and comfortable? Perhaps if we are getting carried away by the modern norms, as just now Veena ji pointed out, we have face yoga, we have every kind of yoga, beer yoga, every kind of yoga, but the real yoga, what we need and what is missing. So sthira sukham asanam is a basic guideline which we need to follow. Then the second aspect that Patanjali has told us is prayatna shaithilya ananta samapatibhyam, and that is also very important. So prayatna is effort, shaithilya is relaxing of the effort, and then ananta is infinity, and samapatti is merging my individual consciousness with the larger, vast, universal macro consciousness. So that is what it is indicated by Anant Samapatti. So for coming to that experience of Ananta Samapatti, I have to start with the basic asana, then progress. Perhaps in the initial time, yes, there is going to be a difficulty and there is going to be a physical struggle, and that is what is indicated by the prayatna part of it. But that prayatna has to graduate to shaithilya, that is relaxation of effort, and that is the way an asana should be practiced. And then the most important is tato dvandva anabhigata. So just now we were talking about having a goal. Yeah. So you were speaking about Mr. Lal having always a goal to move forward. And I think Patanjali has also given us a goal in the asana practices, and that is the tato dvandva anabhiga. Dvandva is a polarity or duality or the pull of the opposites. So when I am practicing asana in this format as suggested by Patanjali, what we are going to experience through this asana is overcoming the pull of the opposites. And given our urban living, we've just referred to the pandemic and the kind of stress it has created. uh, we are carried away and pulled apart in this or that. This is good,
Can you
that
give some
good.
example of
And
opposites?
opposites is a pleasure and pain is a opposite, sukha and dukha. So these are the opposites. Or I want to do this, and but at the
Hate
same
and
time
love.
I feel, should I do this? So these doubts. So all these are the opposites, and we need to overcome that. And the starting point is asana, and probably we have not even thought of it, because the kind of popularity asana is having, it is more of a physical, and we have never explored this possibility that it can help me to stay in so much calm that I will be overcoming the mental blockages as well. Coming to the hatha yoga part, because yes, Dr. Sanjay.
I actually
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
you can hear me, okay?
Yeah.
I just saw the a question. So like if the question keep coming, Veena, you can read it, because
No
it is
problem.
relevant when you are explaining. Someone has asked whether the Surya Namaskar come under the Ashtang like asana. You can see in the chat, so you can include that also, like explaining while you are
Surely.
Surely, we'll do that.
I'll quickly answer that question.
Okay.
Surya Namaskar is a very, very popular form, and it is included many times as a part of the yogic techniques. But if you see very, very technically, it is not a form of yoga asana. Though it's a combination or it's a series of some asanas put together. But if you see by the definition of asana, sthira sukham asanam, it will not fall in the definition of asana, and it also does not involve prayatna shaithilya. So technically, yoga, this Surya Namaskar will not form as a part of asana, but it has got tremendous benefits, and it has been included in the yoga form for last 300 to 400 years, not before that. Last 300, 400 years, because of the tremendous benefits it has on the physiological system. It develops the Pingala Nadi, and that is what many people are interested in today, the dynamism. So it has become a popular form of technique. That's all.
Thank you.
But since we are talking about the Ashtanga Yoga, when you said about the dynamism that is being channelized through Surya Namaskar, so to that extent, it is good to do Surya Namaskar, but eventually it is not conforming to the definition of asana. That we need to keep in mind. Okay, then coming to Hatha Pradipika definition of asana, it is saying kuryat tadasanam sthiryam arogyam cha angalaghavam. So asana, here it is giving us the benefits or outcome of practicing Hatha Yoga asana, and it is saying why should a person be doing asana, because it is giving us thairya again, which is close to what Patanjali tells, and arogya, that is a health, well-being, and cha is and Anga Laghavam, that is a lightness in the body. So these are the benefits that are coming from Hatha Yoga about the asana.
So let us understand now from exercise point of view that exercise is increasing the dynamism. It will increase the metabolic energy and it will give you a lot of active energy to act for the material world, for the outside world. However, asana doesn't look at the physicality in that way. Asana is basically to increase the sattva. Every technique in the yoga philosophy, it will increase sattva, but asana also specifically because it will act on the body to increase the sattva. In which way? So it will increase discrimination at the intelligence level. It will increase the clarity at the mental level. Knowledge, which knowledge? It will increase the knowledge of insight. So normally when we say knowledge, we are more concerned about the worldly knowledge or the material world knowledge. No, here we are not talking of. In yoga, we will always talk about, when we say knowledge, it is about internal knowledge. So about internal, when we say internal knowledge, it is about our physical internal knowledge, it is about our pranic level, it is about our mind, our thoughts, emotions, about our values, discrimination. So everything what is happening inside. And asana will prepare us to be well directed. Now here I would like to give an example of a turbulent flow of water. A turbulent flow of water, like a river which is disturbed and turbulent and it is flowing, it is of no use. Similarly, if there is a body which is full of rajas, dynamism, it may not be, I would say, it may not be, I'm not saying completely no, but it may not be of use for a yogic purpose. However, a body which has been established in asana will be definitely of use because it has developed the potential of prana inside itself, and it will be a well directed body. And what should we do with this well directed body, and what is the preparation, what is all this preparing you for? It is preparing you for the next anga, which is pranayama. Why? Because for pranayama you need to go inwards. You need to work on the prana. I am prana and I am is the vital energy and expansion. But it will not happen if your body is having angamejatva, that is your fickleness or tremors or unsteadiness. It will not happen because your mind will be running out with such a body. Only when your body is sthira, dhrida, sukha, comfortable, only then it will be centered and your mind will be prepared to go inwards. Okay.
So now coming to the pranayama. So Patanjali has spoken about pranayama in 5 sutras. And it is very important to understand what sage Patanjali's perspective about pranayama is. So in the very first sutra, he has given us a definition. I think this is the format that Patanjali follows. So the definition says, Tasmin sati shwasa prashwasayor gati vichcheda pranayamaha. Tasmin word indicates after having mastery over the asana, then progressing into the pranayama. And as rightly Nitin said, that steadiness in the body is so critically important because if by practicing my asana, if I have got my outward flowing energy directed on my body, it's at the periphery, probably through the pranayam. Now from periphery, it is a time to move inwards. It's an inner journey. So that is what the pranayam is going to do for me. And the best thing for doing it is shwasa prashwasa, that is inhalation and exhalation, gati vichcheda, that is bringing a kind of a break or a halt, a pause between the shwasa, inhale and exhale. That itself is pranayama, because when I'm bringing that pause, It is my conscious, deliberate action against the breathing, which is otherwise flowing and naturally happening. So this is a gati vichhed, that is my interference with the natural breathing cycle. That is what is happening in pranayama. Then after saying that, now that there is an interference, there has to be a description of what is this interference. And the next sutra says, Bahya Abhyantara, Stambha Vritti. Stambha Vritti is stoppage. Desha Kala Sankhyabi. So let me give the elaboration on each word. Bahya is external, Abhyantara is internal. So I am holding the breath. That is Stambha Vritti is holding of the breath. Either I hold the breath after exhaling, that is Bahya, or Abhyantara after inhaling. Desha, that is a location in the body, that is upper chest, middle. Kala is the duration, and Sankhya is a repetition, the number of times. And that is indicated, and it has to be either it is Dirgha or extended or subtle. So that is how this kind of alterations, Gati Vicheda is expected in pranayama. And then he is explaining the fourth kind of Gati Vicheda, which is a spontaneous. It is irrespective. It is not deliberately chosen. It just happens on its own. That is why it is said Vishayakshepi Chaturtha. And what is happening by doing this pranayama is Tataha Kshiyate Prakashavaranam. So what Nitin has been talking about, the Sattva. So Sattva is the Prakasha, the steadiness is the Sattva. So it is covered. So what is covering my Sattva? It is the Rajoguna or the Tamoguna.
Someone asked what is Sattva. There's this one question, what is Sattva?
Yeah. Sattva is the, so Patanjali is speaking about the three guna. The three guna concept we often find in yoga, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So these guna are always present there. And what is indicated by Sattva is light, knowledge, enlightenment, balance, harmony, cohesiveness, working in togetherness. That is Sattva. And when Sattva is missing, there could be the predominance or avarana or coating of Rajas or Tamas. So Rajas will be hyperactivity, Tamas will be absolutely no activity or dullness. So that is a brief understanding of what the three gunas are. And when the pranayama is practiced, what it leads eventually after having this Prakasha Varanam going, Dharana Sucha Yogyata Manasa. So Patanjali says the manas or the mind is ready to concentrate and move forward to the subsequent limbs in yoga. And there is at the bottom we have another shloka which is not from the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, but since we have been talking of asana, practicing of pranayam, it is a good idea to refer to the Hatha Yoga text also. So chale vate chalam chittam nishchalam nischala bhave. So only when just think about how I am feeling when I am stressed. At that point, my breathing goes rapid. And when I'm calm and serene, my breathing is also stable, slow and smooth. So there is a direct relationship between the way the breathing is and the way I feel. And that is indicated by this shloka of Hatha Pradika, Chale Vate Chalam Chittam and Nishchalam. So if I want to quieten my mind, then I have to learn to increase the gap and stop this breath in a manner that Hatha Yoga talks of Kumbhaka practice, expanding. In the beginning, you said retention, ayama. So it is related to that.
So yogis believed, and it is true, that Nishchale Nishchalam Bhavat Bhave, that means if your breath is long, so in our day-to-day language, you can say the breathing rate. If your breathing rate is slow, you will have longer life. As simple as that. So you will see that the animals which breathe very fast, say rabbit is there, or cats or dogs who breathe very fast have a shorter life, and those who are breathing longer, uh, like you can say example of elephant or tortoise, which has a life of 300 to 400 years. So that is the correlation between your prana and the chitta. So obviously what it means is you have to try and make your breathing rate lower. Our normal breathing rate is about 15 to 16 per minute, but you will find yogis who will have breathing rate less than 9, 8, 9, maybe even, and at specific times you can find that naturally the breathing rate can go lower than the lower than 5. Now this will take you more towards the sattva because your mind is more stable now. The mind is more clear now. It can see more things. There is more knowledge, more clarity. So that is our brief to this whole discussion. And I'll stop the share here, and I can I will request questions if any specific. Yeah, there's one question.
Veena, unmute.
Veena.
Yeah, after the mastery.
Veena, unmute.
After the mastery of which limb should pratyahar be taken up? Very intelligent question, Ramanjit ji. I'm sure you are a yoga practitioner. Otherwise,
that question would come.
Okay, let me try to answer this question. None of these limbs, the Ashtanga Yoga, none of these are sequentially placed. Though we say that first you have to practice your yama niyama, then only you can go to asana, and after mastering or after practicing the asana you have to go to pranayam. It does not mean that you cannot practice pranayam before you have mastered your asana, because the definition of mastery of asana is not very clearly given by Patanjali, or neither it is mentioned very.
Dvanabhigata is not even experienced, yet we are all practicing pranayam within our given framework, within our limited capacity, and it is helping us.
Correct. So similarly, pratyahar is also not something which you need to practice only after you have mastered pranayam, though it is coming as a fifth limb. Pratyahar can be practiced anytime. And what is pratyahar? Pratyahar is withdrawal of senses. I'm not going to go into that section, but pratyahar can be practiced anytime. You naturally will see yourself practicing pratyahar when you are in concentrated state of mind. And a very simple example could be you are working on something. Just now, we are so involved with this discussion, I'm not able to hear what is happening outside. That is pratyahar. I'm not feeling hungry. I'm not getting any smell, though there's some painting work which is happening in my house. That is pratyahar. So that can happen in a natural day-to-day life also.
And I would like to add one more thing. See, Patanjali, has in Ashtanga Yoga, has gone very beautifully. So when the yama part we are discussing, it is about my interaction with the society, which is on a very wider periphery. When we come to niyama, I am talking about my personal observances. Then when I'm talking about asana, I'm talking about my physical body. When I'm coming to pranayam, I'm talking about my breathing. And then, so from grosser, we are moving to subtle dimension. And then pratyahar is still a subtler dimension where it is talking about controlling or having a mastery over the very senses. So,
can we go to the next question?
Yes.
Before we go to the next question, I just wanted to add a comment over here. Sandhya and Nitin is so wonderful to have you both. This particular demonstration or talk, whatever you are sharing with us, is like giving us a very strong home feeling. I believe like anyone who is living across the world, not in India, because in India, you are always surrounded by like our own people. So you have that sense of India all the time. But the people like us, those who don't live in India, you really made us feel like at home. So I just wanted to give you this compliment, like the way both of you like synchronize and coordinating each other. Wonderful. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you
Uh,
for that compliment, Sanjay ji, and
yeah,
you're welcome. I will try to make this as homely as possible.
I would
exactly.
also like to
So
add one more thing.
yeah, so the thing is that what is very beautiful happening today, because our purpose is to educate people, because like there's so many people are doing yoga, right? So I always say like the best teaching is the storytelling. Like when we can use a simplest, like you are from the IT profession, I'm a scientist, we understand. If I use my technical language, no one will understand. So we use the storytelling, like okay, I always keep this in mind, that a primary school student is sitting in front of us, and if that primary school student can understand what we are saying, then the mission accomplished, right?
Absolutely right. Absolutely
So
right, Dr. Sanjay.
today you took us, because in India, I still remember, we study Sanskrit in like up to year 8, 9, 10 kind of things, and the further people have to study. So today, everything in a very short way, you use Sanskrit. I think like please elaborate the meaning, because you did it very nicely, but that's what exactly we want the global audience to understand.
Absolutely. I'm very
Why?
glad that you have mentioned this.
Hmm,
And that is what I think the role and mission of Indian yoga teachers is there. I see a lot of yoga
hmm,
teachers from my institute and from outside also who
hmm,
are a part of these participants. And I'm sure they will agree with me that that is the mission which Indian yoga teachers have, to spread the right message of yoga with the right language. And
hmm.
I'm so glad to have this platform as an opportunity to spread this knowledge in the right manner.
No, that's so nice, because the see, like that's what I'm trying to say. Um, our purpose, like we are on a track with our purpose, because you use some very simple, first of all, Sanskrit words, and the ucharan, the pronunciation was so clear. Like we always like, I'm from Jabalpur, like coming from the
Oh,
heart of
great.
India. So the people speak very clear Hindi, and the Sanskrit pronunciation is so clear. So today, after long, when I was hearing both of you, that pronunciation, उच्चारण जो संस्कृत में आपके चल रहे हैं, I think like you should elaborate that expression ucharan of those kind of things, and then the definition also to our audience. It will make a lot of sense, because I believe then people will exactly understand. We understand in the context what you want to share with it, like with asana and like pranayam. Very beautifully done. But to go one
This
step
language is
further,
very
yeah.
important because, and in our school, we give a lot of importance. We have classes for phonetic, the Sanskrit phonetics. So it is it's required to understand the language and to pronounce it properly, to understand the meaning behind it.
Hmm.
So I will take one question, but over here, which is by Mr. Tirukesan. It will be helpful if slides were in English. Definitely, I can try and do that translation, or maybe even Veena can do that and share with you. But I will appeal to you if you make an attempt to start learning a little bit of
Yes.
Sanskrit. That is what we were talking about. And so,
I have a question on that. The other day I was listening to something about Sanskrit saying that even the pronunciation of the sound of the Sanskrit is very healing. It has a lot of healing benefits. Am I correct in that?
absolutely
Yes.
right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. Each pronunciation, each word pronunciation has got an effect on a specific part of the body. And very simple examples are the, if you are aware of the chakra meditation. In the chakra meditation, we have some bija mantras like lam, vam,
Yes.
ram, yam, hum. So these are having a direct impact or direct effect on the specific chakras. To give a very simple example, which you will appreciate, I just learned it from one of my teachers, senior teachers. It's a little different kind of example, but I don't mind sharing it with this forum. I don't know about Hong Kong, but in India, when you take a small baby to pee, so what sound do you make? Yeah, you make that in Hong Kong too, I'm sure. So this kind of a sound, that will generate that feeling of urination. Now that is a very standard thing. It doesn't depend on language. In every language you will find, everywhere, any corner of the world, you will say that probably you will use the same technique for making a child urinate. So that is the I've explained this to give you the importance of pronunciation and effect on the body. So every mantra or every bija mantra or any other mantra it has got a specific, the pronunciation is a very important thing. It is because it has got a impact on the body.
Yeah,
I have one question here.
No, what I want to add here, yeah, we take a question definitely. But what is the most beautiful thing happen here? Like certain Sanskrit words were like I would say like a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
Sandhya ji has Sandhi Vichhed,
Correct.
what we said.
Correct.
Have done a very nice Sandhi Vichhed and divided the whole word into two different sound very clearly. So I think like here, what is happening over here, that is again very important learning. Like means in yoga we only learn asana, but like as you say, like in our Vedic wisdom we have a lot of chanting, we have a lot of like shlokas and all those kind of things. And if someone can help to understand that outside and inside the what Sandhya ji just explained, there's a one word bhayankaram, something like that, right? The big one.
Bahya Abhyantar. Bahya and Abhyantara.
So see, is not there. If you read it, is not there, but you use the sound by dividing that whole word into two different kind of things.
That's the Sanskrit grammar and phonetics part of it.
Exactly. So that is my request today, that please share with the audience on that particular line, because that is the perfect way we can teach yoga's value, Vedic value, our Sanskrit, our language, our phonetics, and our the wisdom. So again, coming back to the point, Sandhya ji and Nitin ji, this telecast is a global telecast. The people like sitting in South America, people sitting in Spain, we have an audience all around the world. And I think today, the first time, they will appreciate the way you are expressing. So I want you, when you take a question and answer, please use the same format. Okay. Thank you.
So somebody's just asked, in the chanting of mantras, is the pronunciation more important, or is the bhava or attitude more important?
I would say both.
Both is important. In chanting of the mantra, the meaning also matters, because the meaning changes if you recite the mantra in a wrong manner.
See, there's another aspect to it.
Can you give
there is another aspect to it. Till then you can think of an example. See, there is another aspect about it. See, not every Sanskrit word or every Sanskrit couplet is a mantra. Some of them are mantras, some of them are sutras, some of them are shlokas, some of them are prarthana. So when you're talking of a prarthana, when you're talking, then the bhava is very much important.
Exactly.
Now, but when you are talking of a bija mantra, there is nothing like bhava, it's pronunciation.
Yes.
Now, when you are talking of sutra also, these are very plain, terse words which are using minimum words, and they are tied with each other with a sutra. Like that is why it is called a sutra, but they are very potent with the meaning. Now, here, the bhava does not come in picture actually. But when you're talking of shloka, yes, shloka can have bhava. When you're talking of a Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, there has to be a bhav of respect and gratitude.
Yes.
So it will depend on what you are talking about. It is, if you are a bija mantra, then there is the bhav doesn't really come in picture.
Now I'll just give you an example of the mantra where it is asking for giving knowledge. So gaining knowledge is a very difficult job. So it is a durgama. Durgama is something which is very difficult. So durgama jnana sanstana. So this is the word durgama jnana sanstana. But while pronunciating, so it goes like this. Durgama Jnana Samsthana. When I said like this, it meant Durgama Ajnana Samsthana. It meant exactly opposite of Jnana. So Jnana is knowledge. And when I'm saying Durgama Jnana Samsthana, and when I say Durgama Jnana, so is added. So that is how the meaning changes completely.
Very good. Like our young generation around the world must listen this very carefully.
Right.
There's one question which I am eager to answer. Asanas practice dynamically have become popular phase of yoga, but is the body obsession in the practice of asanas correct? Correctly, when that is not the primary purpose of asana? I think you got it absolutely right. So usually when we are teaching the asana, we always use the term yatha shakti. Yatha shakti is what? As per your capacity. Now, when we talk of asana to be done for demonstration, usually it will be expected that it has to be perfect. But when the asana is done as a sadhana for your own practice, it does not matter whether it is perfect or not, because perfection should be in your own, compared to your own ability. Yatha Shakti is your own ability. So that is not. So that is why I think demonstration of asana or competition of asana doesn't have any place actually in the yoga philosophy. But it is a popular phase because today we are in the world of demonstration. Jo dikhta hai, wahi bikta hai. Is it not?
Yes.
And in a way, it is good to entice people to come to yoga.
See, unfortunately, yoga is also a market today.
Yeah, that is why I use the term enticing.
So yoga is also something which is consumed. It's a consumer world, so yoga is also something which is consumed. And it can be consumed only when it is seen. Why are we putting all this in FB and Zoom? Because it has to be seen by people. Yeah. Only when people see it and consume it, then only it will be spread. So of course it has got both
our
the
very tagline. 50 is 80 is the new 50, right? So
yes,
it has to be. It is for others, right? It is for others. Now,
yes.
I had one teacher who had a little contrary view. Excuse me for that, going absolutely against the theme, but I would like to add that because it will add to the maturity of the whole topic. What he had to say is, you have to age with grace. That's what he said. Because I also said that, sir, you are 65, you are 65, you are 65 and you are looking young. And I don't think he said he's a compliment for me. That's what he said. I said, why? Because he said, I am 65 and I have the maturity of 65. I don't disrespect my gray hair. I respect my gray hair and I respect my maturity, which I have got with the age. So I don't want to really, become 50 or 40 again. That's what his view was. Of course, everyone would like to have the energy. That is the positive thing. And the energy of 50 is always welcome. The flexibility of 50 at the age of 18, the awareness of 50 is obviously, it's a welcome thing. But if it is something for to be shown to the world, I don't think it makes any sense from yogic point of view.
You gave me, Nitinji, like a little bit to bring the scientific aspect into it. Like very interesting thing you have touched, because like when we talk about yoga, as Veena said, like we are doing since January this panel discussion, and many times like during this panel discussion, I talked about two very important things. One is called cognitive bias. It's a very well-known term. You Google it, or there's a books about it and everything. Cognitive bias, and whatever the pain and suffering what we have in the world is because of the cognitive bias. The cognitive bias is like, unfortunately, if you have a very strong belief, what you believe, and have no flexibility in your mind to adjust other people's view and opinion, then your emotion or your thought process or your philosophy is a very rigid. Okay. And when the thought process become very rigid, it become a cognitive bias, right? So then what happened, like your thinking process go binary, right? Or there is a linear thinking process. So what exactly you are saying? So I'm 65, I should be mature, I should not look like a child. That's a rigid kind of thinking, and then there's no accommodation of any other thought process in within that particular thought process, right? So when in yoga, when we are talking pranayam, and when you're talking asana, that's why I'm trying to create like in like why I'm trying to raise this topic here, because as you know, like in Rishikesh or these days, like in many universities, people are doing PhD in India, and I work with like a formal proper doctors, like one of the example I always quoted, I work with a cardiologist, Dr. Sharma in Jabalpur. He retired now. He worked on the sound of Om to treat the heart patient. A formal cardiologist, by using the proper machine to see the effect of the Om like that. So this yoga is moving in this particular direction. Now, what you just said about your friend or the teacher, like this rigid thought process, that's where the body get blocked. So doesn't
Yeah.
matter you do the
True.
pranayam or you do, see, this is another thing. Like logically, if you see, if you want to do pranayam or you do anything asana, you have to prepare your body for that, right? If you are
Absolutely.
not prepared, so like mind and body need to be prepared. So that's the first word, cognitive bias, which you gave me opportunity to say a little bit. And second is a very new branch of the science. It's called the neuroplasticity.
Yes.
It's a very
I was coming to that.
wonderful thing, kind of things like neuroplasticity. And I think yoga is actually a very good tool, a layman language I'm using,
Absolutely.
to demonstrate the perfect model of neuroplasticity,
Neuroplasticity. Absolutely.
right? It means
Yes.
like we become like a water. जिस पतीले में आप डाल दोगे वो शेप हम ले लेंगे, और जब ऐसा हो गया तो टेंशन बचा ही नहीं लाइफ में.
Correct.
Right? So the whole idea is to remove
The
the
whole
stress from the
idea
body.
of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
Exactly.
So
Right?
when your vrittis are, can we ask someone? There are 3 people who are raising hands. Can we ask them to unmute and ask question?
Veena
Is
can
it
do
okay?
that. Yes.
Madhumita, Ramanjit ji has asked questions. So Madhumita can ask a question now. Yes, Madhumita.
Hello. Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, yes, Madhumita.
Yeah. Thank you for lovely session. Interaction is going really very good. Sir, I just want to know something. You have suggested asanas, pranayamas that we know that will help to keep body and mind strong. But are there any other techniques which can help in healthy living and happy aging other than pranayamas and asanas?
Very good question, Madhu. Madhu
The
ji.
Bhagavad Gita talks about ahar vihar, achar vichar, and I think that's a way we can work on our lifestyle. And I think that's the best way to go ahead. And it is like the other 4 pillars. Ahara is conducive, healthy diet. Ahar is recreation or routine activities. Vichar is thought, thinking. Ahar, Vihar, Achar, and the Achar is routine. So Vihar is recreational activities, and Achar is a routine, the healthy routine, right habits that we are forming through the day-to-day living and overall through the life. If we can work on these four dimensions, then we will be able to, in fact, when we are talking about age, I think age in that itself is a programming. The thought that I'm saying I am aging or this is my age, where's the question of age? The time is there. There is no beginning, there's no end to the time. So why do I catch the time by calling I am 50 years or I am 80 years? I am flowing because the very yoga tells about that the life is continuity. I am changing from this body to another body. So where's the question of aging? What do
Yeah.
you say, sir?
Yes. So I would like to expand definitely on this very interestingly put, Sandhya, by you, that the time is a continuum and you are at some point entering and you are at some point you are
Exactly.
exiting. So there is no question of actually age. And if you, I like to, I'm remembering Timeless Mind and Ageless Body of Deepak Chopra, Dr. Deepak Chopra. Now, here I would like to say that Ahar Vihar Achar Vichar, why it is important? Because basically it works on your yoga as a middle path. So if you are following yoga as a middle path, your ahar eating is on time and you're not abusing your body with the ahar, you're not abusing your mind with negative thoughts, you are having the right routines so that there is a proper pranic flow throughout the day, and you are having a proper recreation also, the body will maintain its functions. There is no decay in the body and there is no decay in the mind also. So I think this is a mantra. If you follow this mantra and your asana, pranayama, meditation, everything will come in the achar. These are the.
I'm adding something, Nitin, on this, Nitin ji.
Yes, sure.
I think like again, Veena and Mr. Lal knows about it. Like I worked as a visiting professor on Okinawan diet, and as everyone knows, like Okinawans once where the longevity was the longest in the world. But very proud to share, like right now, Hong Kong is the number one in ranking, and the longevity is the highest in the world, which is like the
Okay.
mean age is 88 years.
Oh,
So that's what it is. So now we live and watch in Hong Kong what the Hong Kongers do to live so long, because mean age is 88. It means many people are centenarian, right? So the
yes.
whole point of this 80s new 50, like, okay, so I put this catchphrase, right, to Mr. Lal, because I'm very much inspired with them, and like it's just like a branding kind of thing. So 80s new 50, it doesn't mean like Mr. Lal become 50 years old or something. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor.
Yes,
We
yes.
are describing a 80 years old person's mindset, his vitality, his endurance, his like motivation. Why? Why it is very important? With due respect to all our culture and the people, a lot of my friends in India, once you cross 50, now this is the time to wind up everything. And in the rest of the world, 50 is, you say, you are starting the life, right? So when you go to the developed world, the 50, you say, now we have learned all the things. So now we are good enough to deal the life later, right? We start living the life. Whereas in India, we start winding up the life after 50. So that mind thought process, when you.
And we have to respect one more thing in this. I would like to just counter you on this thought that in India there is a thought process or a tradition of uh, four ashrams.
I also thought of the same.
So there is uh,
Brahmacharya
Brahmacharya
ashram,
Grasta.
that in the beginning, the first 25 years or for 1/4 of the life. Then
Assuming
there
it
is
is 100, assuming it
assuming
ended.
the 100 years. Then there is a grihastha ashram. Then there is a vanaprastha ashram, and there is a sannyas ashram. So at respective ashrama or a respective age or school, we have a certain way of life, and that is what has to be lived. So when a person is thinking that I want to wind up after crossing 50, he's actually progressing into vanaprasthashram. And I think it's a very graceful way, because uh, in the early years, what we have done is learned and educated ourselves. In the subsequent years, when we are living as a householder, we are trying to live those
Artha.
principles, concepts,
Artha.
earning artha, that is income, and supporting the people who are not earning. So they are the younger generation and the older generation also. So that is what the Grihasthashram is doing. And after having performed my Grihasthashram, the offsprings are ready to get into Grihasthashram. So we need to create space for them to grow and bloom. And at the same time, if I am retiring from my working or active life, that doesn't mean I am closing.
I'm not
I am
useless.
opening another door, and that other door is the Vanaprasthashram, where there is internalization of what I have done in my life, what I have experienced in my life, and then eventually progressing to sannyas ashram, which is coming to
Self-exploration,
realization,
self-realization.
self-exploration, and understanding. Because ultimately, when we're talking about yoga, we just said yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So ultimate aim is to explore kaivalya, the larger, that is the real. Somewhere in the life, we have got so digressed from the original very purpose or very aim of life, that we have actually making our life very, very materialistic, or very, very goal oriented, or a goal which is much limited. There is something very larger to explore and find, and that is the Indian thought in growth.
I think we are going in a little.
No. It's a very much is a very interesting thing. So that is why I'm
Yeah.
sharing. Like means I'm into the longevity research. So
Okay,
I
okay.
agree with you. I agree with you that yes, literature wise, and it's all right, but we work on data. Okay, so we are working 60, 70 countries. We are working with the millions of people, creating a data set, creating a pattern. And this is the biggest, like when people start winding up, because of the good food, good atmosphere, good medicine, good healthcare, people are living longer. So when the people are losing, like winding up at 50, and they have to survive 20, 30 years, we have a data in the reality. It's
Yeah.
not working. There are the people who are living purposeless life. They wake up, they sleep, they have no motivation, but they are alive. But because of that, because now I'm giving you the data, I'm not giving you the theory, I'm giving you the real, like millions and millions of people's data from all around the world. And that's why this whole campaign came. Like when I found Mr. Lal, I said, wow, he is the example to put in front of the people, to give some kind of motivation to these people, like, hey, the life till you are alive, okay, doesn't matter, you are free to choose whatever you want to do, but keep a purpose on for living. Okay, why? Because if your purpose is not on, you are
Absolutely.
dependent on other people, because you are not going to take sannyas. You live in the family. Then what is happening? You are hearing like कि बच्चे को अब छुट्टी लेके यार वो पेरेंट्स हैं, तो आप उनकी देखभाल करने के लिए अब अपना करियर छोड़ो और चले आओ. So there are some practical issues like that, that so far we are not dependent on the next generation. Then yes, I agree. But in reality, it is not happening. So the world is going that in a very different direction, and longevity is increasing.
Yeah.
Very
That's a
interesting thing.
practical problem which
Yeah,
we
it's a
are facing,
practical
definitely.
problem. We are facing it. So
Yeah.
today, like
Unless there is going to be some time when the entire Vedic knowledge and the entire yogic knowledge is transcended. It requires a lot of re-education and the people to understand about Vanaprastha or Sannyas Ashram, the real purpose of it. It's a little away, and practically today, this is what you're saying is absolutely right.
yeah.
So
We
So
can check if there is
one
any
second, one
question.
second. So I just wanted to close it over here. So I think like this is the message, Sandhya and Nitinji, we need to give the people like today, like this pranayam or like asanas, like means if people like adopt yoga as their daily routine kind of things, they can get a purpose of their life automatically, because like
Absolutely.
they can
I think
re-engineer.
that is the biggest takeaway of this whole discussion.
Yes, so they can re-engineer their body. So yeah, so that's it.
So, since we have 10 more minutes left, I mean, there are questions, but I would like to leave the 10 minutes to the last, as I was requesting both of you to perhaps show us, demonstrate certain asanas or pranayamas, which our seniors, especially, can practice on a regular basis, which can be therapeutical for them, at least as a start off, if they take this as a daily practice, how it can help them, and maybe you can even show it to us so that, they see some live session about this.
Okay. So,
I think for the senior citizens, who have not yet started doing any asana or physical exercise at any point of time, basic simple thing, because to show something right now at this forum for 10 minutes and expecting them to do it on their own, I think probably it may not be a good idea. But I would like to give certain suggestions. Basic things like walking, simple walking, that will work well. Like Mr. Lal said that he walks at on 2 different days of the week at different locations. I think it's a very good idea, because then it increases your platform. You are interacting with more people, and that's a good way of doing it. So walk, and then Sukshma Vyam probably you can suggest.
See, considering the senior citizens who may have some mobility issues, there is a branch of yoga. You can, again, you will not find it in very old text. It's a recent thing.
In the old text, it is named as Sandhi Chalan and not as Sukshma Vyam.
Yeah, so Sandhi Chalan or Sukshma Vyam can be practiced by senior citizens. This is simple micro exercises which you can do, for example, for your neck exercise, like looking up, looking down, but it has to be coordinated with the breath, and the mind's attention is towards the joint, which is where the movement is happening. These kind of movements are there. Then lateral movements are there, or even twisting the neck. These movements are there. So this kind of movements in every joint. Yeah, in every joint. Now, for even starting with your fingers, movements are there. For your karatala,
there is a difficulty in signing a document because the fingers are not cooperating.
So basically what we are doing, and in all this, breath awareness and attention of your mind, because your breath and attention is directly correlated with the prana. Okay, so this is there. Then wrist movements are there, elbow movements are there. Yeah. Then your shoulder joint, it's a very important joint. These movements are there. So working on the movements, I'll not be able to show you entire thing, but what I'm giving a message across, that all your joints, right, from your fingers to shoulder, spine is the most important thing. So 6 movements of the spine, the elongation of the spine, stretch of your spine with your upward stretch. This is a very important movement. The lateral bend is there. Then your twisting is there, twisting the spine. Then forward bending of the spine, backward bending of the spine, and inverted spine. So these are some spinal movements.
Inversion will be like semi-inversion. You're in a mountain kind of a pose. Your hands are resting, legs are resting, and you're making a mountain shape of your whole body. That will be a partial inversion. For senior citizens, that's okay.
Then coming to your legs, your hips, knees, very important. Sitting down also, you can do a lot of knee exercises. Like you can do the...
I'll adjust the camera.
So this kind of butterfly is there. This is for the hip. And then simple exercises like these for the knees.
Reflection and extension.
Then for the ankle movements are there. Ankle rotation is there.
Clockwise, anti-clockwise. Yeah.
Okay.
You can also, just hold your toes like this with your hand and just pull it. Right now, while watching the video, everybody can just do this. So, you will also enjoy the active participation. And then twist it like this, like this. Just simultaneously while you're doing it, just do it. And suddenly you feel that the toes has become an important organ which was probably neglected otherwise and has suddenly got into life. That's what happens. Yeah.
So these are the Sukshma Vyayam. When it comes to asanas, then a simple asanas are there, like Parvatasana, sitting down and extending. Only thing, remembering the basic principles of asana, Sthira Sukham Asanam. Don't be in a hurry. Stay in the final position for some time. Relax the efforts. Focus on the breath. After 5 to 6 breaths, slowly come back to the original position.
I would like to add one point here. The ease at which him or I am doing, or many would be doing, for senior citizens, even this is very difficult. If a body is not trained or exercised, one tends to slouch while bringing the hands up. So in such a condition, just check that you're keeping your body upright and then raise your hand up. So even if it comes halfway here, that is fine. Instead of compromising like this, it's better to keep your spine upright and then progress. So that is giving you a good stretch through it. So that's how you will be training yourself.
So similarly, you can have a lateral bend. Then you can have a twist. So these are some simple asanas which you can perform. You can also do a forward bend by going down. But in all these asanas, to be remembered and to be really aware of is to stay in the final asana with normal breathing and relax the efforts. This is the main mantra in any asana. You could learn from anywhere, but this is the final point which you need to remember.
I often tell in my class, when a person is really working on an asana, whatever asana you have taken, whatever spinal movement you have assumed in that asana, imagine you are in Shavasana. Or imagine you are meditating in that asana. And then that really Prayatna Shaitilya flows in.
And after that, you go to pranayam. Pranayam, there are many pranayams. There are kumbhakas which have been listed in the Hatha Yoga, in many texts of Hatha Yoga. But for a simple pranayam, even a deep breathing with prolonged exhalation, that is also good enough for a beginner. Simple breathing in with awareness and exhalation. A long exhalation. If you do this for 3 to 4 minutes, you can check the mind texture changed before and after. So this is also a simple thing. As you progress, your teacher will teach you the kumbhakas, retention. They'll teach you the different variations, the most standard or the most basic Nadi Shodhan pranayams, breathing in from the left, breathing out from the right, and vice versa. Or you are doing a Brahmari pranayam or a Shitali pranayam. So there are many variations, but main important thing is breathing with awareness and breathing long. That's the main thing. I think that should be enough for a practical.
Yeah.
For now, in this forum.
Your teacher's guidance.
Yeah, please don't explore anything yourself. Looking at this video or any other video, please take help of a trained and certified teacher.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I mean, of course, there are lots of other questions I'm sure people want to ask, but time is up. It's 10:30 p.m. in Hong Kong right now, and I hope we all have been enlightened by your wisdom. I hope the audience has been enlightened by your wisdom. And I'm sure that if they want to learn more, they can find out more from your website, reach you out. I know you're teaching in India. You have lots of different, you have the New Age Yoga Institute.
Our website is newageyoga.in. Simple to remember, newageyoga.in.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure we will invite you again in the future to talk a little bit more, give us more in depth into the practical, especially from the therapeutic side of yoga. And also, I see that you conduct a lot of various health camps for cardiovascular patients or people who are
Diabetes, hypertension, these are very common things.
women specifically for osteoporosis, for antenatal, postnatal. So you're holding various sorts of yoga camps targeted specifically for certain conditions. So that's wonderful to know. You know.
So Veena,
Thank you very much.
One second,
Thank-
one second. So
Yeah.
the Nitin, like these camps are where, like in Mumbai, or it's a live-in camp where people have to come for this camp?
See, in current times, most of these programs are happening online,
Okay.
and people are getting used to the online way of learning.
In fact, because of that, we are today sitting together.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
are in
Thank
Hong
you.
Kong, we are in India, and there are some at some other locations.
Thank you.
So that is a popular format, but we do have residential camps. We have place in near Mumbai, Alibag. So there also we can hold some residential camps, and there are some camps which are held in Mumbai also. We have a place in Ville Parle, which is a suburb in Mumbai. There are also some.
So
camps.
if on behalf of Naveda, like as we say, like from Hong Kong or other part of the world, online camp, if we want to do, especially on the therapeutic yoga, like the people with the pre-existing health condition, maybe Veena will talk to you in detail. Like we will love to collaborate with
Surely.
you,
Sure.
because
Surely we can
really
hold. Currently we have 300 plus certified and trained teachers, and I'm very proud to say that each one of them is a gem, and any one of them, if you engage with them for a camp, and there are people who are specialized in certain areas, so we can certainly hold health camps with the help of these teachers.
Published a book.
Yeah. There's a book which has been written by our teachers themselves. This is Dis-ease to Yoga Ease.
okay.
Yeah. So that was released last year. So it is possible.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. Thank you to Sandhya and Nitin Ji for coming here, sharing your wisdom on this platform. Thank you for all the audience who has participated on Zoom and on Facebook Live. We will continue our session specifically for yoga for the entire month of June. So the next limb we have it is on the maybe Sandhya and Nitin Patik will tell us what's
Yeah,
the.
I would like to conclude the class with a prayer. That's
Yes,
all.
sure,
So
sure.
after you say.
The next week we will do the 5th and 6th. Following end of June we will have this 7th and 8th. In fact, Sandhya and Nitin ji, we would like to re-invite you in our last session, because we are going to invite all the teachers that have come on our last session to be part of the last 7th and 8th.
All right.
Yeah?
Thank you very much, Veena ji. Thank you very much.
So we close with the
Daryana
prayer.
ji.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sanjay ji, for inviting us. Beautiful, very nice forum. It was interesting to speak to you. Thank you. You can conclude with the prayer.
Sarve bhavantu sukhinaः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No more.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.